Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Great to see you, and welcome to the Worship Guitar Show. Got a little guitar action for you this evening. Do me a favor and jump into the chat and let me know where you're coming from. And do me a favor, pick up a guitar if you haven't already got one in your hands. I'm going to spend a little bit of time playing and kind of talking about the instrument tonight and kind of hopefully providing a roadmap that will be helpful for you and your guitar journey. In any case, great to be here. Super excited about tonight. And, the interesting thing is, when you think about a worship guitar show and you think about the things that, worship guitar players need, want, and have access to and don't have access to, there's a lot of great content around gear demos, especially thanks to the good folks over at Worship Tutorials. Matter of fact, in this current issue, we have their take on the new Helix firmware. So do visit worshipmusician.com. Of course, this show is an extension of Worship Musician magazine. And we, of course, are passionate about all things worship, but especially as of this show, worship guitar is near and dear to our hearts. And for me, the idea of helping worship guitar players kind of get closer to a type of confidence that comes from knowing the instrument, such that you don't walk out there on a Sunday morning, dare I say, you've forgotten your capo and you're like, what now, right? And that's not exclusively that, but the idea of kind of like, what's really happening that's making all this music stuff work? I think that is one of the missing links that so many of us. Darren Young, what's going on? Great to see you. Vancouver, BC. What a lovely, 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 lovely place. I've been to Vancouver Island. Lovely place, lovely people. All right, so I love that photo, by the way. So here's the thing: is do me a favor. I have a couple of things that I have very clearly that I want to chat about. Whoever shot up that like, thank you very much. But if you guys have questions about like, hey, this particular thing's been giving me a little bit of a struggle, I'd love to know. But with that said, I'm going to just jump in and get right to it. So here's the thing. Most of us, when we join a worship team, thanks for throwing, hey, what's going on, Brett? Great to see you, my friend. When we join a worship team, Gary, what's happening? Great to see you. Hello. And if you guys missed that first little bit there, please go ahead and grab a guitar because we're going to do some amount of playing tonight. And so here's the thing. When most of us join a worship team, most of the time it is this, the main focus is around getting stuff done for Sunday. It's not around, hello, Justin Chan from Singapore. Awesome. Welcome. There's not all that much attention spent on raising up the guitar players. Paul Richard, hello, my friend, long time no see. And not only around raising up guitar players, but also such that, as you kind of encounter music, the concept of a G over B is not something that causes guitar players to kind of go, what the heck is that? But rather it gives us an understanding of what's happening such that we can better embellish the music and the songs that we're playing. Chris Alexander, hello to you, my friend. Great to see you. Please catch up on the replay. Thanks for jumping in and saying hi. Headstock Harem, great to see you. Hello, Wisconsin. I don't know why a C and a G for Wisconsin was the appropriate chords, but I'll take that. All right, so here's the thing: is that it all starts right here, and even if we don't have the Worship Guitar Show overlay, this is one of the biggest challenges that so many of us face, is that we don't have a way of looking at this and looking at the songs we play and looking at the music that we play and kind of have a point that we can kind of point back to and kind of go, this is where it starts. This is kind of how that music gets ported out to the guitar, and this is how we bring this on board. So some of this may be familiar from previous versions here, but the thing is, I've really felt moved to cover this bit of information. We're going to start here. So if you look at that keyboard there, you're going to see from left to right, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And if you think of that as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, Our C chord is our 1 chord. In this case, it's a D minor chord is our 2 chord. E minor is our 3 chord. F major, 4 chord. G major is our 5 chord. A minor is our 6 chord. And I'm going to play this little substitution I mentioned a minute ago. This G over B is our 7 chord. So if you thought about 3, 6, 2, 5, E minor, A minor, D minor, G major. All right, so 3, 6, 2, 5 is a common grouping of chords based on the movement inside the major scale. So the point being is those numbers, I'm sure somebody out there is like, so that's where that number stuff comes from. And honestly, we don't spend a lot of time thinking about this. Now, let's just talk about something else here that I have brought along with me. I brought my friend Acrobat. Some of you are more familiar with this little chart than others, but this right here is something called the Triad chord relay. There are 3 main types of triads: major, minor, and diminished. And if you were to take those and stack them on the major scale, it would go G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor, F sharp diminished, and G major, F sharp diminished, E minor, D major, C major, B minor, A minor, and G major. Sorry, I kind of had a little bit of a challenge there with the body there. But in any case, what's neat about this is that this is the framework from which we just basically, every single one of the chords we play is almost always inside this framework. So that 3, 6, 2, 5 I talked about a minute ago, if you take a look at this chart kind of in the middle of the page there, where you can see in Roman numerals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, and then you'll see actually some mode names below that: major, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, minor, Locrian, and major, and big M, little m, big M, little m, DIM, big M. That stands for, if you kind of read the first row, second row, and fourth row simultaneously, the 1 is a G major chord. The 2 is an A minor chord. The 3 is a B minor chord. The 4 is a C major. The 5 is a D major. The 6 is an E minor. The 7 is an F sharp diminished, and the 1 is G major. So the deal is that that's where this kind of whole 3, 6, 2, 5, all that business comes from. So after a while, you kind of begin to go, okay, I got it. Well, Doug told me that the 3 chord is a minor chord, so I'm going to believe him at face value. But it actually gets even cooler than that. Why does that get cooler than that? Because if we ultimately kind of learn to be able to take a look at some of the stuff like, where are you? There we go. This, heading back to the key of C major for just a quick moment. I'm going to jump back over to my keyboard for a quick sec. Again, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And if you notice, the black keys are in between C and D and E. No black key in between E and F, meaning those suckers are a half step apart. F and G is a whole step, G and A is a whole step, and A and B is a whole step, and then B and C are a half step. That is to say, when you see a black key in between 2 adjacent white keys, it means it kind of has to travel up a half step to the black key, and then another half step to that next natural note there. So basically, if you look at the formula of what that tells you, it says basically if you go from C to D to E to F to G to A to B to C, you're basically going whole step, half step, whole step, half step, which is another way of saying 2 holes and a half, 3 holes and a half, which sounds like 2 holes and a half, 3 holes and a half. And if we just took those notes, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. And if you look at that keyboard there, if we took the 1, 3, and 5, those notes are G, sorry, I spent too much time in G, C, E, and G. And if we took those notes and move it up an octave, that's where this chord comes from. So as we kind of take a look at all this business right over here, we got the C, D, E, F, G. Well, actually, sorry, we got 1, again, if you think about the fingering, there we go, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4. By the way, if you got a guitar, do me a favor, grab it, and even if you know this fingering, do me a favor, on the 6th string, we're just going to go, starting with the 2nd finger at the 8th fret, you're just going to go 2, 4, 5th string, 1, 2, 4, 4th string, 1, 3, 4, 3rd string, 1, 3, 4, 2nd string, 2, 4, 1st string, 1, 2. And collectively, that is just the fingering for the major scale, utilizing the 2nd finger root modes. Now here's the thing, that fingering is purely driven by that next little diagram right there, which is really just saying all it is playing C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. So that is to say that fingering is purely driven by the notes that make it up. So if you can kind of go, okay, well, that makes sense. So it means if we took this exact fingering and we played it down at A, that would mean that we're playing the notes of A major. And if we take a little bit of time to get used to thinking, all right, that's a whole step, because a minute ago I told you this business, the major scale goes 2 whole steps and a half, 3 whole steps and a half, just take my word for it. That means that's A, hold a B, hold the C sharp, half to D, hold the E, hold the F sharp, hold the G sharp, half to A. So the whole point is this 2 holes and a half, 3 holes and a half business is what's driving all of this. So it literally, we're just going whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step, and wherever we happen to place that, that fingering is basically lining up G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G, A. So why is it helpful to know those note names? Well, if we can take a look at the key of C here real quick, the 1, 4, and the 5 for the key of C are C, F, and G. So we go back to our little diagram over here and take a look at that second diagram right about there. If you take a look on the 6th string, you got C there, move right across to the 5th string right there, you got F right there, and you got G right there. Just take my word for it, those are all major chords. So if we did that for the key of C, and then we moved it down to the key of A, if we know this is A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, D, and E, and the key of G, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, G, C, D, it means that when we begin to see a chart that maybe goes, let's say, G, D, C, where that G is clearly the root. Kind of go, I think that's that 1, 5, 4 business Doug was talking about. And if we play it over here, all of a sudden we begin to recognize, oh, that's a 1, 5, and a 4 as it works out, but I'm doing it for A, E, and D. So it means that we can kind of go, okay, A, E, and D. Now I realize that's not your triple church 5. A, E, G. I didn't mean to hit that G natural. I needed to hit a G sharp. Which also means that if you know the notes are A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, that if we accidentally hit a G, we know why it's not the right note. But the point being is that what happens with guitar players, we end up being boxed in when we get into a key that we're not familiar with. So if you're like, hey, okay, we're going 1, 5, 4. Doesn't matter what key we're in, but if we know that the 1, 5, and the 4 are A, D, and E, or that we know that they're G, D, and A, and all those other embellishment notes, or wait for it, coming out of G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G, all of a sudden the plot gets a lot easier to manage. That is to say, most of us have a tendency to see things as shapes. That is to say, this G shape, right? So as I start embellishing that puppy, I'm going to respond to that in just a moment there, in just a second. Thanks, Brad. That if I begin to be aware of, like, okay, I'm in the key of G major, and the notes are G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G, and that includes the open E, the open A, the open D, the open G, the open B, and the open high E string. That means that embellishment-wise, I begin to have some confidence about the other stuff that I can throw that's in there. That is to say, I think just about all of us have ended up in some, dare I say, B flat. And if we don't have a way of navigating B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A, and B flat, kind of knowing what the notes are and having ability to go B flat, hold a C, wait a second, hold a D, all right, half to E flat, hold a F, hold a G, hold a A after B flat, that's not that scary. And if we can go, all right, B flat, C, D, E flat, F, E flat and F are my 4 and my 5. And the idea is we're just basically taking the silly 1-5-4 progression, but just adding that B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B flat to it, which is to say, kind of once you kind of take the easier keys like G, that have all those lovely open strings in there, right? Then you kind of begin to go, okay, well, how do I bring that into other keys? And it's just simply going, what's my root? What are the notes in the key? That whole business back over here. Come here, little keyboard. C, hold the D, hold the E, half to F, hold the G, hold the A, hold the B, half to C. That's where it really all happens from. So with that said, let me jump in and say hello to a couple of folks. All right, JEL, that sounds like do, re, mi. You got it. It sure does. It sure does. All right, Justin, not going to lie, I still freak out when I play jazz songs and keys of B flat, E flat. My mind cannot compute that many sharps and flats. So, Justin, great point. All right, so I'm going to start with, and I love, first of all, and I'm going to try and hit all these great comments. I love this. Because you got to understand, I'm always like, I think I'm going to talk about this. And it's always great to see the comments light up. So here's the thing, is that one of the important things that we deal with as guitar players, and yeah, that is a TC tuner, Brett, is that, freak out is something that happens right around the time we go up the neck and we get a little overly confident and we hit something like in the key of, right. I was in the key of G. I was in the key of A. I think I was in the key of A. Where was it? Yeah, no. What was it that I did? Yeah, I was in the key of A. And I think I hit the open G string. And, it's just the ability to just go, hang on a second. Hold on, let me back up one step. Let's just pick whatever key it is that we know we're going to encounter, and we just take a moment and go, and we, as guitar players, are famous for like, I got this, let's just jump in, as opposed to like, hang on a second. If I need to play, again, Justin was talking about in keys like B flat or E flat, well, the first thing that we want to do is go, okay, well, wait a second. Let's tame this beast here. Now, it starts again with this business here, which means if we can go C, hold the D, hold the E, half to F, hold the G, hold the A, hold the B, half to C. We get the basic pattern. Then I would suggest doing that with every open string as an E, hold a F sharp. That is, as I'm doing this, what I want you to do is as you take a look at those numbers down there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, as I'm calling out the note names, basically, you can be thinking 1, hold a 2, hold a 3, half to 4, hold a 5, hold a 6, hold a 7, half to 1. while basically saying E, hold the F sharp, hold the G sharp, half to A, hold the B, hold the C sharp, hold the D sharp, half to E. Or A, starting with A as my 1, A, hold the B, hold the C sharp, half to D, hold the E, hold the F sharp, hold the G sharp, half to A. D, hold the E, hold the F sharp, half to G, hold the A, hold the B, hold the C sharp, half to D, G, hold the A, hold the B, half to C, hold the D, hold the E, hold the F sharp, half to G. B, hold the C sharp, hold the G sharp, half to E, hold the F sharp, hold the G sharp, hold the A sharp, half to B. Now that one, B, that one's a little bit of a stickler, but once you get used to, all right, let me take my time. B, hold the C sharp, because that's the 2. Hold the D sharp, because that's the 3. Half to E, got a friendly note there. Hold to F sharp, that's my 4. Hold to G sharp, hold to A sharp, half to B. Not so scary once you just kind of begin to deconstruct. You can hear, all right, well, it's B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B. And here's the important thing. Rather than seeing the notes written down on the page, once you begin to go, okay, well, this business is 1, hold to 2, hold to 3, half to 4, hold to 5, hold to 6, hold to 7, half to 1, which really the most important thing you just want to think about is when I'm at the 3, it's a half step to the 4. And when I'm at the 7, it's a half step to the 1. That is to say, B, hold the C sharp, hold the D sharp, half to E, hold the F sharp, hold the G sharp, hold the A sharp, half to B. And then all of a sudden you go, got it. And so when you do that for a key like B flat, and honestly, Justin, I think B flat is way scarier mentally than when we kind of go. And this is one of the other ways that you can begin to tame this piece. In the same way that you can just see, I've kind of written out C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1 on those keys. You can then kind of go, all right, well, let me just play the major scale at B flat. Well, it's not really any different than it was at C. So now I just got to think B flat, hold a C, hold a D, half to E flat, hold a F, hold a G, hold a A, half to B flat. Not that scary. Then kind of just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And then you start mapping out the different, again, this 1, 5, 4 business. So guess what? B flat, F, and E flat. I'm going to go to a G minor. That's a G minor 7 as my 6th chord. 1, 5, 6, 4, 3, 4, 5. 1, 5, 6, 4. So again, and now then, once you kind of sit with it for a minute, okay, B flat, G, sorry, my bad, B flat, F, I'll call it a B flat major, F major, G minor 7, E flat major, actually, that's an E flat sus 2, and that's going to be an B flat over D, and it's basically, it's another way of playing kind of that D minor 7, a little bit more of a piano chord. And all of a sudden you get comfortable with, all right, B flat, F, G, E flat, and all of a sudden you're like, well, that's not that hard, but it takes a little bit of on-ramp, and I think most of us lack an on-ramp. Okay, so I'm going to jump around answering questions. Hey, Ezekiel, thanks. Great to see you as well. And I'm doing these the first Tuesday of every month at this point. So I'm going to come back and try and hit everybody that has made any comments that there is an appropriate response for. All right, so, here's the thing, Darren. This is one of the great things about the guitar. Is that, if I'm in the key of G and I play this, I'm in the key of B flat. One of the great things about the guitar, first of all, we can move those same shapes back and forth, but it is a great reminder as an accompaniment instrument. And by the way, this is the book Ligertwood, signature Martin 00028. and it's a beautiful guitar. So the fact that this is quote unquote Brooks guitar is the perfect reminder that just like the sound of the instrument changes depending on which register you're in, the same thing is true of the voice. And more often than not, we're accompanists, right? So as we think about how and where we're going to play our chords, this is one of the reasons if I'm in the key of A major, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. Actually, I'm going to play that same chord shape, same chord movement. So I went 1, 5, 6, 4, but I'm going to find some different ways to play it. So here's my 1, 5, 6, 4. Notice that time I didn't play the open G string. I learned my lesson. So if I were playing it here, way different from I then. I'll tune in just a second. Or if you give me that thumbs up, thanks so much. The point being is that when we get comfortable enough going, okay, I'm going 1, 5, 6, 4, A, E, F sharp, D. Where all can I play that? And this is one of the reasons I'm not a big capo fan. This is in no way, I've been accused of capo shaming before. And in particular, and it was appropriate that I was kind of called out. It was by somebody that had a physical handicap that was reading a review, and I talked about kind of not being dependent on the capo, and they're like, well, actually there are people that actually can only play with the capo. And I was like, I just wasn't really thinking ahead when I was, you know what happens when we open our mouth without thinking. Sometimes we don't quite end up with the end result we were looking for. The point being is I actually, I love the ability to use the full register of the instrument, but I also understand, and this is one of the things about, the great thing about a capo, so the equivalent of this chord, and frankly, if we want a capo for a key that, is a little freaky to us, I get that as well, but the ability to create kind of more of a lute-like effect, just in the same way, Justin, your comment was, it was Darren. My bad. It does sound different where we play it, and so what we don't want to get in a habit of is going, I've only got so many chords in my pocket, and I basically play the same chord shapes regardless of where I am up and down the neck. I find that limiting. More importantly, it means that I'm limited in terms of what I can do supporting the worship leader. Okay. All right, I'm going to jump. That's YouTube. I've got kind of two different feeds coming in here. So let me jump over to Facebook for just a minute. Okay. Yes, that is. Brett, I love these tuners. The only thing I'm not crazy about is every so often they're a little hesitant on the low E and on the E string on bass. But other than that, I love these tuners. And yes, this guitar records extremely well. What I also discovered is that my acoustic guitar recording technique is not as good as my desire to have great sounding acoustic guitar recorded. But once you venture down the road of not having the built-in pickup in there's it's an interesting journey. I don't want to go too far down that road other than to say I learned a lot about what I didn't know, which is always a good thing. Paul, if I only had this lesson when I started guitar back in the day, would have made a huge difference and helped. Well, and so thank you, much appreciated. And this is kind of why, like, hey, let's just jump back into the universe. Like, where does it come from? The piano. That is to say, Western theory and harmony. There was a period of time, roll back the clock, where it was much more common for a worship leader to actually lead from a piano. Now it's largely done either without a guitar or with a guitar or some combination thereof, right? So it was a lot easier to kind of see that point of connection. Now it's not quite as obvious. Brett, Paul, you and me both. So the idea of being able to have a reference point and then just go, got it. And here's the other thing is, to be perfectly honest with you, per Justin's comment, a key like B flat until you kind of have the kind of whip pull out your. Wait a second. The half steps only occur between 3 and 4, and 7 and 1. And the way I can remember that, I just go over to the piano. C, D, E. All right, E and F. C, D, E, F, 3, 4. G, A, B, 7, and 1, or 8. I call it 1 because the next thing we would call after that is usually going to be 2, 3, so on and so forth. It keeps repeating. And there we go, Chase. We just played House of the Lord in B flat last Sunday, and this. Okay, so and here's the other kind of, if you will, the joker up the sleeve. Worship leader comes in, a little scratchy through it, and says like, can we move that down a half step or maybe a whole step? So it was all beautiful. We were in the key of C. This is great. I've got this whole. I'm playing some kind of arbitrarily. What am I in? Right. I'm modulating, sorry. Great sounding guitar, right? Okay, so the point being, so whatever that pseudo worship is, all of a sudden they're like, hey, we're doing B flat. Oh, it was my 2 chords, sorry. All right, so hang on. Let me back up a step. So I did this thing. That would have normally been a D minor. Basically, what happened was instead of it playing a D minor, played into a D major. So in other words, should have normally been. So by being able to track which chord that is in the progression, that is a. That would be the normal chord you would play, but going there. So we're going C major, the 1, G over B, that's basically a substitution for the 7, A minor, the 6, G, and we're going to go to D major, which is instead of playing D major, we're playing instead of playing D minor, which would be the 2 chord, we're playing a major there, and that just gives us then that's 4, 5. So we're going 1, 7, 6, 5, 2, 4, 5, B flat. That's going to be an E over A. Sorry, that's an F over A, G minor, F major, C major, E flat major, F major. So basically, I was just transposing that kind of on the flash. But again, that work that we did before, we went, wait a second, all right, this can't be that hard. B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B flat, and we just kind of walked down. Well, there's A flat, sorry, B flat, A, G, and F. So that made most of the heavy lifting, pretty well taken care of. And then we just had that C there. We had that F there. The only one that really kind of was tricky was actually that E flat. And all of a sudden, kind of the scary part isn't so scary. But part of that is somebody kind of walking us across the land bridge going, come on. And the neat thing is that, transposing something like that, if you don't have a way of kind of placing the chords in a common key, then it gets really, it would be terrifying. Okay. Well, okay, so Chris, so here's the deal. Hey, great to see you, by the way. So the reason they were in B flat or E flat, a minute ago I said, 10 plus years ago, you would frequently see somebody leading from a piano or some sort of stage piano or keyboard, as that was where a lot of those keys were being written from. And so, and I'll go a step further. There was a worship team that I was on, that where the guy's voice was and where he loved to sing is like every Sunday it was like, here we go, B flat, and so, and for guitar players, it is as unfriendly an open string key as you could probably, want to deal with it, because that open B string is just waiting there, right? And if you're a Rush fan, that chord is like, an easy chord to get to, because all we're doing is we're taking that F sharp and we're just lifting that up. So that B just loves to ring. So it's one of those things in B flat. It's just waiting there. It's like, gotcha. And it's just a mess. Okay, hang on. All right, hang on. I'm going to come back over there. Okay, good. Absolutely, mic placement is difficult for acoustic recording. I am in the same boat of finding the right way to get it right. Yes, so there's actually a video on the Worship Musician YouTube channel where I'm actually using this guitar, and I'm utilizing this one. They are rumored to release this guitar with a pickup, but it does not have one that's available yet. So I was using a DPA, which are these great, I think they're Danish microphones, and it has a clamp that attaches here, and then kind of this mic that you can point. It's this little baby shotgun. It's the cutest little thing ever. Right around the 14th fret. And generally speaking, why the 14th fret is the sweet spot is that's usually where the neck meets the body. And generally, if you're working with one microphone, one of the places that people like to mic is sometimes pointing right there. But kind of one of the most common places is to kind of put the mic pointing at some degree right around the 14th fret with a little bit of an angle pointing towards the sound hole. The closer you get to the sound hole, the boomier and blown out the bottom end gets. But the thing that I discovered, and I've got a lot of great microphones, but many of my great microphones are great for miking electric guitar amplifiers and speakers. Not so much for acoustic guitar. It was a very interesting journey. Brett. No, Brett's comment, Doug, Rick Beato has a great video on his YouTube channel on getting started recording acoustic guitar with mics. It's helpful to me. It may help you. It's not a great video. It's not a good video. It's not a bad video. It is an awesome video. Now, the thing about Rick's video, because that was one of the things that was a huge help to me, was that, amongst other things, Rick really knows his microphones and his compressors and his EQs, including his classic Neve 1081s. I actually have in a box around here a pair of 1073s, which he actually mentions, and he said, look, they've got a few less EQ points, which compared to the 1081 for acoustic, it actually you really benefit from those. So I actually have the 1081s in my Universal Audio suite of plugins, and they're the official Neve plugins. So I actually got started using the distressor that he used. I ended up not having to use any compression. And actually in a conversation I had with Brian Wall from Worship Tutorials, who knows way more about acoustic guitars than I do. By the way, he makes awesome acoustic IRs. But, the idea of, just getting the right microphone and getting the sound of the acoustic guitar. The interesting thing is I started off with a DPA and initially wasn't happy with what I got, and I spent 5 hours going through different microphones. Finally, I came back to the DPA, and I took most of what I learned from Rick, and then watching is it Secrets of the Pros, Hewart, and then there's another Nashville producer that did something with the UA folks, and you could leave going very confused because you hear every one of the mics and they all sound different. But the challenge is that the right mic for one guitar isn't always the perfect mic for another. I'm going down a little bit of a rabbit trail here, am I? But you brought it up, and it's a great point. But the thing is that Rick Beato video was great because I was able to kind of then go, where is EQ points, and kind of add a little bit of EQ. I ended up using about half as much as he was, and I was extremely happy, and I learned so much from that video. Thank you, Rick Beato. Yes, thank you, Brett. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, there was a comment over here that I wanted to take the bait on. Okay. Oh, then there's okay. So what was it that I was working on the other day? That I'm like, oh, it was again, who can name that song? Put it in the chat there. Thanks, Brett. Yeah, no, that video is awesome. Okay, come on, I'm waiting. So in any case, there is, I think it was Limelight, and I'm working on a little secret project in my other world called Analyze This, and basically there is, and actually I'm going to give them a nice shout out tonight, and I'm waiting to hear back if they're going to be able to give me some sort of quote unquote. Thank you, Paul. Well done. Points. I think we played that this past week. So okay, so hang on a second. So in any case, I'm listening to this one track, and I'm like, it sounds like the rhythm guitar is in one key, being played in one particular thing, where that is to say, Getty is in one tuning and Alex is in another, and that's where it gets really tricky. So per this whole kind of, like, hey, it's somebody's tuned down. The bass player is usually going to be playing these days on a 5-string, right? So they don't necessarily need to tune down. So now all of a sudden you've got these mixed messages that could drive somebody completely nuts, right? So like D for drop D, Like if you were listening to that and weren't initially kind of and trying to figure it out, like, wait a second. You go, oh, wait a second. Oh, impossible. Drop D, right? But like until you kind of get there, and I was listening to this thing that Alex Leifman was doing, I'm like, oh, okay, wait a second. Now he's down a half step. But boy, initially, lots in F sharp because they play G tuned down a half step. This is where it gets really strange. So do you have, anybody here remember the Morpheus drop tune? Paul, boom. So I've actually still got one. So unfortunately, the guy that invented the Morpheus drop tune, it's this pedal, and you could drop or raise the pitch. I think it was a whole step on either side, maybe a minor third, but it enabled you to kind of navigate when all of a sudden, we're playing a song where things are tuned down a half step and we don't really want to change our tuning. It was a big pedal. It was a great sounding pedal. And I was really impressed with how great it sounded, and it solved that problem where they're tuned down for the song. You're like, I'm not tuning down or bringing a second guitar for one song. Or, for example, this is a great example. I don't remember which Jesus Culture song it was, but there was one of these songs where Jeffrey was using these open string. Let me get rid of the keyboard here for a second. Boy, I've stopped teaching here, but that's okay. We're going to come back to that. where Jeffrey was playing these open string things, and you know you've got to have this relationship of being in the right key, and that Morpheus really enabled me to do that when I had to move it to a different key. And there you go. No, and that's the great thing is absolutely headstock. The great thing about Variax is it enables you to basically be able to, whether it's with, dare I say, the HD500 or you know any of the more recent offerings from Line 6, it enables you to basically map a different tuning in there, which is great. Wouldn't it be great if you could hear the sound of the acoustic guitar when you're playing? Could be a bit off-putting. So here's the interesting thing, you know. This is the other thing about miking up acoustic guitars. You begin to kind of go, what it sounds like up here is so markedly different than what it sounds like there. And then at a certain point, you kind of go, well, which one is it? And it makes it a very interesting thing. It's like in a perfect world, and you know you can't really do it. It's fraught with all sorts of things. But ideally, in a perfect world, you'd have a mic where your head is, because this spot, every acoustic guitar that gets made, as long as the person actually plays guitar, this right here is what hears that right there, right? Very strange kind of reality about all of that. Okay, let me make sure I didn't miss anything there. Good. All right, there we go. So there we go. So in a worship sound, I normally stick to common chords, the common notes of the key of the song that I might play in versions of the chords, normally triads anywhere in the neck, especially if there's a long measure. So what's great about this is that, you know, as you get used to this triadic thing, G major, it's been a minute since I've done this, but I think I'll be able to pull it off. G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major. Where am I going to play my E minor? Right. E minor, F sharp, diminished, and G major. So basically, G major, A minor, B minor in second inversion, C major in first inversion, D major in first inversion, E minor. Where am I going to play my E minor? No. Oh, right. D major, E minor, F sharp, diminished, G major. So what I'm doing is I'm playing a G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D minor, E minor, F sharp diminished, and G major. So that is to say I took this business here, which came from this business. Hey, I'm teaching again. Good. Acrobat, there we go. That is that business there. But now what I'm doing is I'm going, hey, G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor, F sharp diminished. So that means, so if we want to go 3, 6, 2, 5. What's great about having that type of knowledge on tap, and by the way, let me just be really clear about that. You kind of watch me kind of go E minor, and I just played this D major. So if this is a D major in first inversion, that's a D minor an E minor in first inversion. It took me a minute to get back there. So there was a certain amount of work that it took to kind of get comfortable enough with these chords that I could actually piece them together. But once you kind of go, okay, wait a second, the mission is to basically take this G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor, F sharp diminished, and G major, instead of moving up and down the neck, be able to work with inversions, and be able to play them in one location on the neck, because that's all right. I'm going to, what I'm going to do, so I was basically going G major, C major, D major, C major, 1, 4, 5, 4. We've talked about that before. But what I'm going to do, 1, instead of playing that full C major there, I'm playing this little. It's technically it's a G sus2. But that little movement right there, by having basically that D note add that little decoration of that G there on top, it enables me to kind of, and really where this strategy comes into play is it's doing what a piano player would do. And I remember being it was during a service, and I was at kind of this Pentecostal church, and I remember we were just sitting on a section, kind of waiting for the Holy Spirit, right? And I remember watching the piano player like moving one finger, and I'm like, and we were doing some little 3-note movement. I was like, they would move one finger and they would move one other finger. And I'm like, okay, I got to learn how to do that. Because I was like, because the continuity you get is so nice. And I'm sure all of you have experienced the kind of like, man, I know where to play this chord, but I wish I knew something that was closer to here that didn't sound as disparate. And that's kind of where these inversions come in. So absolutely. So if one were to go, well, Doug, how do you approach doing that? The simple answer would be to take a couple of common keys that start at the bottom neck, like G, and basically take G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor, F sharp diminished, G major, and then C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and C major, and then right, D major, E minor, F sharp minor, G major, D major, E minor, F sharp minor, G major, A major, B minor, C sharp diminished, and D major. And so when I played the G major, those were just voiced 1, 3, 5. That is to say, I'm in the key of G. I'm taking the first note, third note, and fifth note. I'm just playing them there. And basically, if the concept of the modes is you take the G major scale, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, and Dorian is simply starting off the second note, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, Phrygian off the third note, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, Lydian off the fourth note, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, Mixolydian off the fifth note, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, minor off the sixth note, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, Locrian off the seventh note, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and then G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp. And if you just take the first, third, and fifth tone of each of those, which is going to be G, B, D, A, C, E, B, D, F sharp, C, E, G, D, F sharp, A, E, G, B, F sharp, A, C, G, B, D, G, B, D, A, C, E, B, D, F sharp, C, E, G, D, F sharp, A, E, G, B, F sharp, A, C, E, and G, B, D, which ultimately ends up being major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, major. So we take the same concept. So if you took a C major bar chord like that, and you just played those notes right there, that is basically, if we took the notes of C major, and instead of starting on the sixth string, I just go C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. You got a C, a G, a C, that guy, as we know from tuning that guy as an E. So we got a C, G, C, E, and a G, which is really a 1, 5, 1, 3, 5. And we're interested in this 5, 1, 3 that's happening here. And so if the notes of the key of C are C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and we're here playing these notes right here, which are G, C, E, we're going to do something that Mr. Vi, famous worship musician, would describe as chord scales. That is to say, we have again G, C, E. We're just going to move up this key, up this string, and this string, and this string, and this is our G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and this is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and this is E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, and we're just moving through those respective notes, and that's giving us a C major in second inversion because it's starting at the 5. D minor, second inversion. E minor in second inversion. F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and C major. Then we're going to pick the key of D. I don't know why I went to C there before D. I probably should have gone there because this is right here is basically a D major in first inversion. And so this is taking the 1, 3, 5 and voicing it 3, 5, 1. By the way, with these inversion things, it doesn't have to be 3, 5, 1 for it to be in first inversion. It has to have the 3 in the bass with these triads for it to be in first inversion. That is to say, the order of the notes above this aren't what make it first inversion. If it's a D chord and I'm playing the second note of that chord, D, F sharp, A, putting the F sharp in the bass, it's in first inversion. Or if I put the A in the bass, it's in second inversion. Doesn't matter the order of the stuff after that. It's what's in the bass is the way that's named. So basically, that's doing the same concept we talked about a minute ago. We are in the key of D major, so that's F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, so on and so forth. So that's what kind of, and then we can just, if this is 1, 3, 5, all right. This is, sorry, not 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, 5. Sorry, my bad. So this is a 3, 1, 5. This is flat 3, 1, 5. And this is flat 3, 1. Sorry, oh gosh, come on, Doug. 3, 5, 1. Flat 3, 5, 1. Flat 3, flat 5, 1. My bad, so sorry. Putting the brain back on. So that means that basically that's major, that's minor, and that's diminished. So we just go major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, major, major, diminished, minor, major, major, minor, minor, major. Which means that at that point you're just going, all right, well let me find G major, I'll play it like that. A minor, play it like that. I'm going to choose to play B minor like that. C major like that. D major like that. E minor like that, and F sharp diminished like that, and G major like that. It's actually a lot more straightforward once you've kind of done this little business here, and you can just see those different inversions getting in there. So the point being is I was very happy to take the bait on that, the inversion thing. It's so neat because you can do that on all sorts of different strings. I generally prefer doing it on the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string. So the big question is why? This string, especially as you get further up in the neck, has a tendency to be right smack in the vocalist register. Get out of the way. Yes, yeah. Oh, that's cool. That was fun. Thank you for that. Okay. Oh, thank you, T. Moody. I really appreciate that. I am in the middle of much appreciated. Thank you. I am in the middle of working on what I think is going to basically be a online version of Diatonic, but just made a little bit simpler, but also with some new pieces to it. So for those of you who don't know, I put out a DVD called Diatonic Theory and Harmony, which is where this PDF is coming from. Right. Get to the right window. There we go. That bit of business right there. So that was the companion PDF that came with that, and there's a bunch of stuff in there. But it's basically going to be called Guitar Fundamentals. At least that's what I'm leaning towards. And it's the great thing is since I put out Diatonic Theory and Harmony in like 2004. Funny thing, I watched a little bit of the video the other day, and it's like it's shot in SD, so like it's not even like I mainly when I shoot video these days, most of the time I'm in 4K, which is 16:9. Those of you that geek out on video, but this old video is 4:3, and you immediately notice you're like, wow, it was that long ago. But the point being is that coming back to the note location thing, and I actually am going to take a little bit of the bait there. And there's a great question there. Brett is asking about how often do I Ezekiel, Dan, you have an incredible talent there, brother Doug. First of all, thank you. Here is the let's separate that out a little bit there, because the thing is that there is skill, but skill has to be developed, right? So that is to say, one of the other guys that when I was in high school, who studied with Joe, he could do things with his hands that I'm just like, man, I'm just years of practice away from that. But I knew that with years of practice, at some point, I would get to the place where he had naturally in his hands. But this other stuff is years of study and just kind of going, well, and watching that keyboardist do that, I'm like, okay, I understood that it was inversions, but I did not yet kind of get to the point where, like, I have to get comfortable enough with the triads that, give me a moment, because this is going to be importante, and this is one of the things I'm trying to figure out with this kind of the whole, hello, oh, is this an abbreviated version of the PDF? That's not what I want. Fine, I can do it here. All right, if we look at that keyboard there, and you look at kind of, if you kind of you put your thumb at C and did kind of every other note for a total of 3 notes, you'd end up with C, E, G, D, F, A, E, G, B, F, A, C, G, B, D, A, C, E. Oh, wait, I'm playing the triads for the key of G and calling out the notes of C. That's okay. B, D, F, and C, E, G. All right, so that's pretty funny. But you get comfortable with C, E, G, D, F, A, E, G, B, F, A, C, G, B, D, A, C, E, B, D, F, C, E, G. So if you kind of go, okay, those are the triad note groups. That is to say, if you look at, my mouse isn't going to track through, but if you looked at kind of, if you will, starting at the 1, and you kind of did leapfrog over the 2 and leapfrog over the 4, you end up with the 1, 3, 5, C, E, G. Then if you took that same sequential pattern, started off of D, you'd end up with D, F, A, E, G, B, F, A, C, G, B, D, A, C, E, B, D, F, C, E, G. You say it and practice it enough times. C, E, G, D, F, A, E, G, B, F, A, C, G, B, D, A, C, E, B, D, F, C, E, G, C, E, G, B, D, F, A, C, G, B, D, F, A, C, E, G, B, D, F, A, C, E, G. Why is that important? Because if you get comfortable with knowing those triad note groups, you kind of know what you're looking for. And when you kind of bump into this, like, okay, that is an F sharp, A, and a D, I begin to kind of go, oh, that is a D major triad in first inversion, D, F sharp, A. Now, this is one of the things that I work on with my students, and we're going to go a little bit down the rabbit trail here, but this is important. The whole point about knowing the triad note groups for the key of C major means if you get to a key like G, which has G, hold the A, hold the B, half to C, as in 1, hold the 2, hold the 3, half to 4, hold the D, hold the E, hold the F sharp, because that's the 5 to the 6, sorry, 6 to the 7, E, F sharp, half to G. That is to say, 1, hold the 2, hold the 3, half to 4, hold the 5, hold the 6, hold the 7, half to 1, G, hold the A, hold the B, half to C, hold the D, hold the E, hold the F sharp, half to G. That'll keep me humble. So the point being is that then you kind of go, well, then you take that same pattern. So that's C, E, G, D, F, A, E, G, B, F, A, C, G, B, D, A, C, B, D, F, C, E, G. But you started at G. And every time you get to an F note, it becomes an F sharp. That is to say, G, B, D, A, C, E, B, D, F sharp, C, E, G, still the same, D, F sharp, A, E, G, B, F sharp, A, C, G, B, D. So that is to say, those triad note groups stay the same until you get to a note that is, got a flat or a sharp. For the example, the key of F. F, hold a G, hold a A, half to B flat, hold the C, hold the D, hold the E, half to F. And by the way, somebody their head just kind of exploded, kind of went, wait. So you mean that distance of 1, hold a 2, hold a 3, half to 4, where you start that is the difference between why some keys have sharps and flats, or why some keys have sharps and other keys have flats. Yes, that is to say the key of G, as we kind of cruise along, 1, hold a 2, hold a 3, half to 4, hold a 5, hold a 6. We're at the 6 here, so I'll step to the 7. That's E, a whole step above E is F sharp. 1, hold a 2, hold a 3, half to 4. F, hold a G, hold A, half to B flat, because the next note after A has got to be some sort of B note. Well, it's a whole step from A to B, that's why it's B flat. All right. So the note names, just like they allow us to kind of take a giant breath and kind of go, all the stuff that most of us freak out about, like the key of B flat, we then kind of be able to go, okay, if I understand what's going on here, I understand what's going on here. I may not always be able to articulate it on the fingerboard, but at least I can go F, hold a G, hold a A, half to B flat, hold a C, hold a D, hold a E, half to F. So then what starts to happen is you begin to go, okay, well, F, A, C, G, B flat, D, A, C, E, B flat, D, F, C, E, G, D, F, A, E, G, B flat, F, A, C. So that was just the triads for the key of E. I'm sorry, the key of F. But what happened is every time I got to a B note, it became a B flat. So that is to say, everything we learned about C, E, G, D, F, A, E, G, B, F, A, C, G, B, D, A, C, B, D, F, C, E, G, F, A, C, G, B flat, D, A, C, E, B flat, D, F, C, E, G, D, F, A, E, G, B flat, F, A, C. So you begin to realize those triad note groups are always going to be 1, 3, and 5. And it's just reflecting the notes of the key. Whoever threw those up, thank you very much. And it takes a lot of the fear factor out of it. Now, it just takes a little bit of practice time to just go, okay. You just got to walk through it. But the key part of this is right there. It's just kind of going C, E, G, D, F, A, E, G, B. It's right there. And for those of us who grew up with a piano in our house, it's always been right there. So this is the other thing, is this is where all this underlying theory comes from in the first place, and being able to take that, bring it over to the guitar, have the ability to go back to piano gun and go, oh, I can see that 1, hold a 2, hold a 3, half to 4 business over there. Got it. 1, hold a 2, hold a 3, half to 4, hold a 5, hold a 6, hold a 7, half to 1. So G, hold a A, hold a B, half to C, hold a D, hold a E, hold a F sharp. Got it. Okay. Half to G. F, hold a G, hold a A, half to B flat, hold a C, hold a D, hold a E, half to F. Got it. Oh, okay. A, hold a B, hold a C sharp, half to D, hold the E, hold the F sharp, hold the G sharp, half to A, and then you get to some wacky key like B, because it is kind of wacky. B, hold a C sharp, hold a D sharp, half to E, hold the F sharp, hold the G sharp, hold A sharp, half to B. The great thing about that, once you actually really know the notes, you actually really know the notes. And, it means that if I know this is B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, you're like, oh. And you can begin to move that around. It becomes portable knowledge, and that's where it becomes really cool. And so ultimately that kind of familiarity is what allows you to go G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor, F sharp diminished, G major. Good. 20th anniversary, very action green. My buddy Andrew would have been involved in that guitar. Very cool. My buddy Andrew was the manager of, they actually call him product owner at Line 6 World. He was in charge of Variax. He would have had a lot to do with that guitar. Those are great guitars. I still have my JTV 89 and my JTV 89F. If anybody knows what F stands for, you know what F stands for with that guitar picture there, my friend. Well, the great thing about practicing, oh, come on. Let's see if I can do it in time. And this is the other thing. There's what we will call the right tempo, which is when you know you can nail it. And it can begin to, be kind of pleasantly musical. At Diad. So, first of all, one of the exercises that I'm thinking about reviving for this kind of guitar fundamentals is the basic, the power chord relay. Not so great to play on an acoustic guitar. because so many of us... And the great thing about once you kind of can hang out with your... and I'm just basically playing root and fifth for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... Flat 5 for the 7. 1, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the 4, 5, 6. Flat 5 at the 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4. 1, 4, 2, 5, 3, 6, 4, 7, 5, 1, 6, 2, 7, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4, 7, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1, 4, 7, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1, 4. So you can begin to embellish those by adding the other notes in the key. And guess what? The way we know the other notes in the key is because we went G, hold the A, hold the B, have the C, hold the D, hold the E, hold the F sharp, have the G. So that's G and D. So I'm adding that C. I'm going to go to the B. So that's B and F sharp. I'm going to add the G. I'm going to go to the C. That's going to be C and G and F sharp. So I went like this. Adding the A. What you got to watch out for this guy. Rang through it just a little bit. So those are the dyads that I use most, but so using dyadic movement against a bass note, though, is something that I do a lot. It always sounds a little bit better. I find that when you're in tune, it seems to just be a little bit more effective. But, so I love dyadic movement. 6 is kind of my favorite in that particular instance. The other thing that I love to do, I think we've talked about... There are just certain things that when your nails are just that little tiny bit too long, you just can't quite get into the groove there. Give me a moment here. All right. That's the pinky too. So that's again knowing the notes. That's C and G, D and A, E and B, F and F sharp and C, G and D, and then I'm basically E, F sharp, G, A, B. But I'm going E, D, E, F sharp, E, F sharp, G, F sharp, E, A, F, A, G, A, B, B, A, B. I'm out of tune again, but you get the point. All right, and yes, even practicing can sound musical because ultimately I'm trying to mine for ideas. All right, Brett, I can't bring that in because of where that is. So Brewster uses the dyad concept on a song called Surrender, My Heart Is Yours. Make dyads on the low E and G strings with unique intervals. And yeah, so I mean, for me, where I really enjoy most of my dyadic movement, it had metal and the church intersected in the 80s. There would have been a lot of that stuff, right? Power chords. And that guy right there is basically a nice little inversion. That's a G major basically in first inversion. But back in the 80s, we might not have known that. Cool. Yeah, no, the interval part of it is exceedingly cool. All right. So, first of all, are there any remaining questions? Because I think I've hit all the big points that I wanted to hit. And, but I also want to make sure that I haven't missed anything that anybody is kind of like, hey, I got a question about this, or, kind of this thing, because I've got a little bit of work I'm going to probably head back into. But this has been therapeutic. I don't know about you guys, but the theory side of things is a huge help, and just kind of that feeling is like, okay, I got this. Because when you know how to map the different chords and the notes and the inversions and all of that, it becomes a much more musical endeavor. That is to say, part of why this is so valuable is I think all of us would love to find more than two ways to play the first and second verse of a song, just such that we would have them on tap in case we needed them. Or maybe we do an acoustic night, or maybe there's some day you show up and the PA has gone, whatever. So having more ways to kind of unpack things is valuable. Brett, thank you. And I appreciate the kind words as well. Excellent. And, I know, Brett, you and I have kind of talked again about kind of this whole mode thing. And, the neat thing about all of this business is that it just kind of allows us to kind of go, wait a second, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, does that really mean that if we started off at D, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, that's D Dorian, and E Phrygian is E, F, G, A, B, C, D, and F Lydian, and G mixed Lydian. So literally, I encourage anybody that's ever kind of, the mode thing's been slightly mysterious, I encourage you to just sit there going bang, 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 da 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 da, and play the little right-hand melody, hang out on C. And it's what I call dropping an anchor at the tonic. I'm going to do it in a slightly different way. I'm going to use E as my... that open G string. So that was dropping an anchor at E and playing the notes of E major. Now what I'm going to do... I'm going to play the notes of E Dorian, which are E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, and E. We go back to E major. E Dorian. Now I'm going to play E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, which is E Phrygian. E Lydian. F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp, E. E mixed lydian. E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D. Don't let that open G get in there. That's an A sharp, so that would have been Lydian, mixed Lydian. Technically, I would have gone to major. Now, the interesting thing about each one of these modes, I'm literally just kind of starting off with E functioning as the 1 of the major scale. Then I'm having E function as the 2 of the major scale. Having it function as the 3 of the major scale. As the 4 of the major scale. The 5 of the major scale. The 6 of the major scale. The 7 of the major scale. So that gets us to E minor. Let me finish that up. Now, Locrian, if you get used to the a 5/5. You gotta watch out for that open B string because it's a B flat in that key. So this again gets us back to the strings on this guitar. I haven't played this guitar for probably a couple of weeks. I've actually played the strings on this guitar out. I played this doing all sorts of crazy stuff like So I've actually kind of killed these strings. I'm missing the little bit of sparkle on the top. Because I did a bunch of that and kind of forgotten the little. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that video. Remember exactly kind of how it's kind of this. Kind of had this little shtick going. All right, thanks, man. It certainly doesn't sound bad, but like that, all that beautiful brilliance, I've kind of played that out of the strings, but that happens. All right. Paul, with great pleasure, my friend, as always. Brett, I'm learning to how to navigate the modes in new ways and mixing intervals, and it's opened up my playing into new things I've never done before. Yes, virtual high 10 and amen. Way to go. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Nick, Sarah, hey, what's going on? How you doing? Midnight, no, but something. I don't know. Something. Oh, right. Oh, the Satriani thing. Right. Of course. Silly me. Yes. All right. Still sounds good. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. At 7:30 at night, I'm going to bid you a fond adieu with a big thanks. I will see you the first. Nuno's tune. Got it. No, that's my bad. Sorry, I will say that I remember seeing an acoustic guitar story, and then we will head off into our respective evenings. I was at the NAMM show many years ago. Gary, always love anything to do with theory. Awesome, with pleasure, Gary. Thank you, appreciate that. And there was this band, Extreme. And they were kind of at the NAMM show. They used to have bands, kind of, rock bands, either new bands or existing bands or jams or whatever. And so this year, Extreme was about to drop this record, and so they kind of were on the Friday or the Saturday night. And I remember they played this song called "More Than Words," and there's nothing like hearing a song for the first time played, and I don't think the album had come out yet, but it's like that. When you hear a number one song before it's become a number one song and before the album is released, there is something that happens in the room that you just go, that. You just know. It's just kind of one of the things is that you can't always say that you know what makes a number one song, but when you hear it, you're just like, there's that thing. And gosh, hello, Ezekiel. That is a great question, and I'm glad that you had the transparency to ask that. So that is a great question. So his question was, and I can't bring it in here, but you would not be the only person wondering that, is EQ and IR the same thing? Great question. They are not. So EQ is an acronym for equalization, EQ. IR is an acronym for impulse response. And so traditionally, impulse responses started as the recording of a space like a cement tunnel. And you would capture the sound of that reverb, and you would take that impulse response into an application that would function as a plug-in in your DAW. And I have never actually used reverbs like that for a very long time, but you would basically have the ability to load that impulse response into basically a reverb plugin, and it would take that reverb that somebody captured with a microphone in that space and allow you to use that same reverb, except now you could play your guitar or whatever it is into that. The more common usage of IRs these days is they're taking that capturing of, most traditionally, a speaker, but quite often it's not only the sound of the speaker, it's the sound of a microphone and perhaps some EQ and perhaps some compression and perhaps a channel strip on on a console, and perhaps some additional things that they used to capture to make it such that rather than it sounding like just the naked sound of the speaker as it sounded in the room, it's the sound of the speaker through a range of different microphones, different, either a channel strip, that is to say, if you've got some beautiful old Neve board, that Neve had a 1073 or a 1081 EQ as part of the channel strip, and so you're EQing it there on the board, or maybe you've got some Pultec EQ, which is this beautiful EQ that would be an outboard piece of gear that you would send from the console and come back to. And so the point being is that then you're capturing all that stuff and you're turning it into an IR. So one of the newer versions of that for guitar players, they're actually creating IRs of acoustic guitars. So my friends over at Worship Tutorials, and we were actually talking about this today, they did a live stream. If you get a chance, check out the live stream they had today where they were talking a little bit about, amongst other things, speaker and cabinet IRs, but also acoustic guitar IRs. So it means that you could take this guitar and put a pickup in it, and you could then play the sound of the Taylor that they made IRs out of, utilizing this and something like I don't know, a Helix or some sort of IR kind of loading device. So on my desktop, no, it's not. So there are a number of different ways that you can now go about loading IRs, but most traditionally these days, when somebody refers to an IR, they are thinking of an impulse response that's either of, most commonly of a speaker. So I literally, if you guys get a moment, and I certainly would appreciate watching this over on Eminence Speakers YouTube channel. I did a video for them on their IRs, and they sound great. And they're, one of the batches is using this beautiful Gretsch guitar that's up there that I'll be reviewing in the upcoming issue of Worship Musician Magazine. Ironically, it's a Richard Fortus, the guy in Guns N' Roses. But interestingly enough, if you get a chance to watch Richard's video on YouTube, as he opens up the beginning of the video, it sounds very praise and worshipy. That's obviously, he's not, Guns N' Roses is not a praise and worship band the last time I checked. But Richard's is a brilliant guitar player, just a great guitar player. In any case, so I use that for kind of what I call jangly Gretsch, or Gretsch jangle or something like that. But there's a range of different styles and things that I did. But, that is kind of the most common use. And so that is to say, I love it. Awesome, awesome, awesome. That's me reading Nick's comment about biblical themes. But the thing about IRs is many, if not most IRs, actually have EQ that's been applied to the sound of the microphone and the signal chain. So there is EQ inside IRs, many, if not most. But EQ, equalization, IR, impulse response. It is a great question. And honestly, there's not... actually be a really great little mini video series, kind of like, I often thought about it, and I think I've seen a small dictionary of it, like MIM, Made in Mexico, right? Music acronyms, but there aren't that many. But what exactly is an IR, right? I'm sure there are many people, Ezekiel, that are like, what exactly is an IR, and where do they come from, and how if you've never used one, how do you approach doing it? So and having just done this video on IRs for Eminence, the first time you go to buy a and actually there's a tips Ezekiel, I got, if you get a moment after this, go over to Eminence's YouTube channel. Hang on a second. I can actually provide a little social service here, hopefully. Come on. For some reason, the Bluetooth on this computer just has got the blues. I was going to say still got the Bluetooth, but it doesn't sometimes. All right. YouTube. Eminence. IR. That should come up with the way I tagged it. There we go. No, don't play. And I'm going to share this. Here. And YouTube. There we go. And there. There we go. So if you get a moment, head over and watch all that good business. All right. Awesome. All right. So we're going to close out in prayer. Lord, it just seems like it just kind of, we get to what seems like the end of this worst part of this COVID thing, and now we've got all this other business going on in Europe. We put our faith in you, we put our trust in you, and we know that you know the outcome, and that regardless of what happens, you will be honored, because ultimately it's all in your hands. So Lord, we just pray that in this time of suffering for so many and so much conflict, the enemy is wide awake and at work. So Lord, we just pray the blood of Jesus over war, and we pray for unity, because I know that that's what you would want, and the word speaks of it. So Lord, we just pray that we become a little bit more like you every day, and that we hear your voice amidst all the noise, and we just pray for your wisdom increasingly to fall upon us, Lord. And we just pray that your word will permeate our lives even further, Lord, and that we would learn to see things as you would want us to see things, and not through our flesh. I pray that your comfort to anybody that is going through something or has yet to go through something. Pray for Alan and those that weren't able to be here tonight, who've got stuff that they're taking care of with family. I give thanks for all the people that invested their time here tonight, investing in the gift that you gave them, Lord. We give thanks for that. We give thanks and have gratitude for the gift of music and that thing that we're able to somehow kind of hang our hat on and kind of open our hearts and just kind of open the floodgates of emotion and express it in ways that words sometimes can't. We're very grateful for that. And to be able to do that with other brothers and sisters, and just be able to find that rest in you, and knowing that that gift comes from you, Lord, that's powerful and it's awesome. So we leave tonight with a praise of gratitude for you, Lord, and just I hope everybody's tank got filled a little bit more than it was when they came in, and I pray that that continues on for the rest of this week. I look forward to seeing everybody the first Tuesday in, holy cow, where does the time go, in April? And in Jesus' mighty name, I let everyone be blessed. And we all said, amen. All right, thanks so much for hanging out. What a pleasure and what a privilege. Have a great one, and look forward to seeing you in about a month.